Sliders is basically a show where four people, four innocent victims, are sucked into a wormhole and into an adventure where they have to travel from parallel universe to parallel universe. Now, when I say parallel universe, I mean same time but different dimension of Earth, and the crazy situations and the crazy Earths that they do encounter makes for a fun show. Not only a fun show to work on because man, I never know what's going to happen on this set. I think it changes from episode to episode whether the other three characters are happy to be stuck on this in in this predicament, and I think it really depends on the world they're on. If it's I mean, because we do shows where I mean the crazy stuff. We went to a world where men were killed off by a disease, and 95% of the men were killed off by a disease. So men were very sacred on this world, and only used for breeding purposes. So the professor, myself, and Rembrandt had a lot of fun that episode. That was really a good time. So I mean, it's like that, you know, whether they have a good time or not really depends on the world we're on. When we're on Ice World, I don't think anybody's having fun. It's just such a fun premise. I mean, what if I turn left instead of turn right that day? How would my life be different? Well, on Sliders, you see how your life would have been different. You see how the world would have been different. It's a very socially conscious show, and you can't help but be with a premise like this. And it's funny because we deal on the we deal with the whole parallel universe idea on on a global, worldwide, socially aware level, and also on a personal level, on uh, on an emotional relationship level. So it's such a nice combination. It really makes it really makes for an interesting twist. Sliders is funny because it's a science fiction action adventure comedy, and which is great from my point of view because it's not one specific genre. I'm not stuck in an emergency room. I'm not stuck in a police office. I'm not stuck in a spaceship. I'm running around all day, and we're going to different locations, and that's what I think makes Sliders such a good show is the fact that it is totally unpredictable. We do some great special effects. And it's a real treat for me because I went to NYU Film, and we studied a lot about special effects there. And it's one thing to study about them in a book and read about them, and it's a whole other story when I get to come to set and I see them putting together a special effects sequence, or even something as simple as the vortex wormhole, and seeing them do that from scratch, and then seeing all of the stages that it goes through. It's a real treat for me. Filming the wormhole sequences, which is at the beginning and the end of every show when we come into a world, and usually when we leave it, it's so much fun to do because we all basically jump onto these huge, giant mats, and all four of us do it one after another in succession. So it's really good time, and you'd be amazed to know that John Rhys-Davies has like a 5 foot vertical. The guy jumps higher and farther than anyone else on our show. I mean, I'm like the young guy in the show. I should be the athletic one. I mean, he's the fastest, most athletic guy I've ever seen in my life. We love each other. our characters do, and on set we have such a good time. I mean, Rhys-Davies, Cleavant, Sabrina. You hear horror stories about cast members really not getting along, and it's the best. It's so much fun. All we do is laugh all day. I mean, sometimes I have to pinch myself and say, wait a minute, I'm being paid to hang out with three people I really like. Thanksgiving this year was held at Rhys-Davies' house. And, we're all these Americans, and we're in Vancouver, and nobody celebrates Thanksgiving. And you feel a little homesick on the holidays. And Rhys-Davies had a huge turkey Thanksgiving dinner. And I really realized at that moment, looking around at this table with Rhys-Davies and Sabrina and Cleavant, and a lot of the cast and crew, a lot of the other cast and crew. And I remember looking around the table thinking, all right, Sliders is my new family, and I felt right at home. And every American holiday that they don't celebrate up here, we now, it's a tradition. It's the Sliders family tradition. We all go to Rhys-Davies' house. Being in Vancouver for the shooting of Sliders is the best. I mean, look at this. I mean, look at this mountainous views we have here. Everywhere you look is a postcard, and I have a great time. I do a lot of skiing, but we have to keep that quiet because the producers get very upset when they find out I'm skiing, and it's a real outdoorsy town. And coming from New York, getting to work here in Vancouver, where you're outside all day, it's a blast. It's a real treat.
Well, the premise of Sliders is simple. The brightest young lad in the class accidentally develops a device for opening a portal into a parallel universe. And into it he takes his professor, his sort of girlfriend, and inadvertently scoops up a black soul musician. And once they get into a parallel universe, because of a misfortune, and because they do not understand the whole thing, they cannot get back into their own. So they're traveling into parallel universe after parallel universe, trying to find the one that is home. That's the premise. What is the show about? Well, it's about magic, I suppose, really. The little portal opening device is the magic wand which says, what if there was this in the world? How would these people behave? I believe that this show could be the most successful show on television because it is the most immediately accessible show just on that premise. All right, for the sake of those of your viewers who haven't seen the show before, we're not actually traveling through space and time and things like that. What we're doing is entering a parallel universe, an alternative San Francisco. And we go from alternatives to alternatives to alternatives. Some places the British still rule North America. Some places the Spanish do. Sometimes it's a world where all the men have been wiped out. Or almost all the men have been wiped out. And so there's a great sense of variety, and you can say, what if? And that is really the key to this show. What if we lived in a world where the dinosaurs still ruled the earth? And how would our intrepid foursome get on there? The reason I originally wanted to play the professor was certainly because we owe science, particularly in our century, so much. And the men who make our lives possible, just look at the technology that I'm seeing in front of me in terms of the camera, the sound recording equipment, and all that sort of thing. Extraordinary technology. And we owe it to scientists and engineers, and we never give them any credit to the student. Well, they're all brainy. They're too brainy for us, you see. They can do maths, and we can't. And it would be lovely to create a character that was lucid, intelligent, articulate, and passionate about knowledge. Yes, I am interested in science. I am, alas, one of these completely innumerate people. But I do, I read Scientific American and New Scientist on a sort of weekly basis. Obviously, Discover and the odd eclectic magazine. I just started something on cold fusion, which is sounds like a lost cause, if any. But clearly, something is interesting is sometimes happening there, and whether it is cold fusion or not is a big question. But I think I think it is important that we create characters who clearly are interested in knowledge. Scientists, engineers, these are the heroes of our times. These are great role models, and we should not ignore them. This is the very easiest group to work with. Cleavant Derricks is possibly the nicest man on the planet. He is a genuinely golden-hearted, golden all the way through man. He is a joy and a privilege to know. Sabrina is terrific, a lovely lady, and she's getting so much stronger and more confident as they're beginning to write for her now, and we tease her mercilessly. We reckon she's going to be a complete monster within a few months at least, but we're not going to let her be. But that's what we tell her. And Jerry is. I would love to have had Jerry as a son. Whoever brought Jerry up did the best job I've ever seen on a young man. He is the most modest, the most mature, the most intelligent, well-rounded young actor that I've ever had the privilege of working with. I learn from him every day. And he's a true delight. I think he can have it all. He can have a very successful career in television, a very, very star-studded career in film, and he's so smart that I think one day when he's done this and the grass starts to look greener, he can then make a very successful writer and producer and director. A 280-pound actor has the aerodynamic properties of a small grand piano. I find the liftoff difficult. The actual passage through space is painless. The arrival on impact is definitely jarring, yes, especially when you get those damn great heavy bodies, Miss Lloyd in particular, and especially Mr. Derricks, and even that bloody little twit, Mr. Jerry Connor, flying in after you, and they all land on who? Me. Why? Because I'm a nice, thoughtful person. I'm also a very good fat pad to land on. Oh, God, I think it's probably the only reason I'm employed in this damn show, now that I think about it.
Jerry Quinn Mallory is our resident boy genius, and he invented the timer, and that's why we are sliding scientist to be. And of course, Arturo, who is his, very stodgy professor who wants to take all of the credit himself. And it's interesting because our two characters play off of each other really well because he's so scientific, and it's actually interesting because it's very much like this in real life too. He's very scientific, whereas Wade is much more of, a spiritualist, I'd like to say, and so is John and Sabrina. So we're always getting into debates, which is interesting that it carried over into our characters. And Rembrandt, who just happened to get sucked into this whole thing because he just happened to be driving down the wrong street. That poor thing. And I don't know, I think he's still trying to figure out what happened to him. He's in, where am I? And Wade, of course, is our resident girl. Yeah, it's San Francisco in another situation. It's the our Earth in another situation, that parallel dimension. That I picked up this coffee cup, but if I didn't, what would have happened after all of that? The domino effect of everything that happens when you don't do that one thing. So that's been really fun. My favorite was the first day on set last season. We went to this world where it was still like the 60s. It was free love, and everybody's really happy. And I get to set. I'm a little nervous. I don't really know anybody. It's been 6 months since we've done the pilot. And they dressed me in this goddess gown. And they put me up on this throne. And they tell all these extras to worship me and feed me grapes. And I just looked around and I said, I think I'm really going to like this job a lot. And can I stay in this world? I want to stay in this world for a while, or at least can we come back here often? It was really fun. We went to a world, the last episode that we just went to, which was really interesting. We went to a world of seers, and seers were the highest regarded office. They were above the president, and because of what happened was they were able to foresee all of the assassinations coming and all of the earthquakes coming, so they changed all of that and they stopped all of that, and because of that they're highly regarded. It's going to be an interesting episode, I think. The time that they're allotted on each Earth is dictated by the timer. The timer gives us a readout as soon as we land. It could be anywhere from 60 seconds to 3 weeks. We actually, last season, landed on a world where Quinn's backyard had they just found oil in his backyard, and we were all millionaires, and we had to leave in 10 seconds. So we didn't get to enjoy any of it. And then, of course, we slide into a world where there's a plague, and everybody's dying, and we're there for weeks. So it tells us, and if you miss it when the time is up, the timer will, go off, and then you have to open up the gateway. And if you miss it, then you're stuck on that world. I think it's 29.7 years or something before the gate will reappear. So you gotta make sure that you're in that gate when the timer goes off. I think it is a terrific concept. I wonder that all the time. I wonder the different things that happen in my life to bring me here to working on the show. What if that didn't happen? What if, because everything that happens to you is that domino effect. Well, you met this person, which introduced you to this person, which got you to where you are. If that one little thing didn't happen, that's what the show's about. If that one little thing didn't happen, everything's going to be different. The outcome is going to be completely different. I love it. The idea is incredible. It's great. That's one of the reasons that I was drawn to this show, is the fact that we do get to go to so many different places and we get to shoot outside. I couldn't imagine going to a set every day, not seeing the sunshine. Of course, it doesn't shine very often here. Today's an exception. Rain gear, that's webbed feet is a good thing to have in Canada. But it's great. In a way, I feel a little spoiled because I don't know what's going to happen when I do have to go and work on a set every day. Every show, I can't wait to read it and say, where are we going to go this week? What are we going to do this week? And sometimes we're in rainstorms, and of course it never rains on the days that we're in the rainstorms. Then they have to bring water in. The only day of the month that it doesn't rain and we're in full rain gear, figure that one out. I think that there's a lot of action and adventure. I think I would think of it more as an action adventure type oriented show. And with that, of course, you have the science fiction element, which is the fact that we're going to parallel dimensions. And they also try and incorporate a lot of humor into it, which is my favorite. The more humor in the script, the happier I am. I think that they write some great comedy. And we get in situations that are very life-threatening, which becomes very dramatic. And you never know. There's so many different things in the show to follow. And I think if a show can do that successfully, that's what's really going to capture people, because you watch a drama and it's very dramatic and can be very heavy, or some people just watch comedy and it's very light. But if you can find all of those elements together, I think that's the makings of something special. We don't see anything. We see this. They have this special lighting that hits our face, and then they have blue pads, and we have to jump. We just have to jump through frame. You just jump through and you land on the pads, and it's actually the funniest thing in the world, because if you actually saw the dailies for what we do, you see us jump 2 feet and then land on a pad and get up and move, and then the next person comes. It is really the funniest sight, and because of course they put the vortex in later, and so it's gonna suck us. But in the dailies, you actually just see us go boop boop. That's it, and we just look to the lights.
Let me tell you about the premise of Sliders. It begins with a young man who discovers a way to travel from one Earth to the next. He goes to his professor. Professor, I found the key. The professor says, you're lying. I've been working on this for years. Show it to me. He takes him into the basement. He brings along a friend of his by the name of Wade Wells, who works in a computer room. They discover this vortex. It opens up. It takes them out into the street, into another world. I come along minding my own business, trying to build my career back up, and I'm sucked into this thing along with these scientists. And it's about us trying to get back home. We can't get back home because we can't set up our little timer so that it can take us back to our world. So we travel from one world to the next. And it always lends itself to the story of what if? What would happen if you were on another Earth and your life was completely different? And I think that's fascinating. Rembrandt Brown is an R&B singer who is caught in a vortex by a young man who was supposedly setting the vortex up in his basement. He didn't do it properly. The vortex expanded out into the street. I'm on my way to bring my career back up. I'm going to sing the national anthem at Candlestick Park. This little rascal sucks me in the vortex, destroys my Cadillac car, and I'm stuck with him, and all he can tell me is, don't give up hope, Rembrandt. So we go from earth to earth, trying to get back to our home, and we never seem to make it there. But in all, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of dramatic plays with it. There's a lot of humor to it. The characters have a lot of fun with each other, and we get along pretty well. I think the character of Rembrandt plays an important part for the audience. I think that he's the young man who's asking questions that the audience is asking. And I think that's very important because we are a light sci-fi. So you have a lot of the average people out there who are saying, well, what is the professor saying? I don't know what's going on. Why can't they do this? Why can't they do that? Well, through the Rembrandt character, you can ask these questions and get answers for the audience. And I think that's the importance of Rembrandt. And I certainly saw that when I read the script, and I'm glad the writers saw it when they created the character. I think that he has a lot to offer for the show. I think he has a lot to offer for the audiences that are watching, and for the young kids. I think he's lighthearted enough to give a great sense of humor. I think it's still very fascinating for young kids, science and mathematics and all. They can look at it and find that there's a lot of fun and there's a lot of interesting aspects to science that people don't normally talk about. And we have a great group that I'm working with, whom I love dearly, who are playing the other characters. We have John Rhys-Davies, we have Sabrina Lloyd, and of course we have Jerry O'Connell. And I mean, I'm with the best, man, and I love them dearly. Now, I tell you about our show, Sliders. Our show is not like Star Trek in the sense of you're traveling to other worlds per se. We're traveling to parallel Earths. So it's a chance to go to another Earth and to see how that Earth has survived. Some have difficulty. Some their communist has taken over and rules most of the earth. There are other worlds where we travel to where England, the war between America and England, of course, England won. And so America is part of the British Empire. Uh, there are other times when we run across our identical selves, which can be very interesting because they're usually completely different because of the way their world has been set up. That in itself is interesting. And I think it's interesting for young and old alike because we always ask ourselves, we look back on our lives and we wonder about, what if I had married Mary Lou, or what if I had gone to this university, or how would my life be different now? I mean, if I'd made the decision to do what I really wanted to do rather than do what my father wanted me to do, uh, rather than go off to war, maybe if I had just decided just to travel the world, all of these questions we ask ourselves because a lot of times we look at our lives, and although our lives are good in a lot of ways, we always wonder, wow, I wonder if it would have been better had I made different decisions. And of course, it would have been. But to actually see it and to actually experience it right before your very eyes, I think is very fascinating. And I think that's one of the elements that helps us as a show like Sliders because it is always asking that question, what if? The difference between our show as a sci-fi show and a lot of the other shows that are out right now, and you're right, a lot of them are very good. I think that we're a little bit lighter. I think we look at a much broader audience with our show. There are a lot of kids who really come to us to say, we really love your show. Now, if you get kids to watch your show, parents are going to come in and they're going to look at what the kids are watching. They're going to sit down and they're going to watch the show along with the kids. Now, they may not be caught up with it on the first show, but the next week they come back and the kids are watching the show again because the kids are hooked on our show. I mean, there's no question about it. They love the show. And the parents start to get hooked. And I think that's what makes us unique and different from all of the other sci-fi shows that are coming along. Kids, young people, older people, everyone can get something from our show. And I think that's what makes us really special and unique. And I like that a lot. I think our show is a well-produced show. It does, and it has great light moments, and it also has very sincere moments, and it deals with a lot of issues that people deal with on a day-to-day basis. We have situations where we befriend kids sometime, and we help kids to understand themselves and to deal better with their lives. And I think that that's very important. We've done a lot of that this time around. And we get involved with other people on these other earths now for the benefit, for the better of the good. So we're just not running through and then necessarily trying to get out without being involved with what's going on or trying to see what we can do to assist or help people who are in situations on these other earths, on these parallel earths. And I think that that's great because that way the audience becomes more invited into the show where they can identify with it more. And I think that's fantastic. What makes this show work for all of us is that there's a great camaraderie between the actors. And that was there day one. I never will forget when I auditioned for this show. And Sabrina Lloyd was sitting opposite me, and she had just flown in from New York. And I looked at her. I knew she was from New York just by the way she dressed and the way she presented herself, because there's an energy that New York actors have. And I said to her, I said, "You're from New York, right?" I said, you just got in from New York?" And she said, "Yeah, yeah, I sure did." And I got to tell you, my arms are exhausted. And I laughed so hard, and I said, "You know something?" I said, "You're going to get this part of Wade. I said, I know it. You're going to get it. And she said, yeah. She said, you're going to get the part of Rembrandt, too. And when she walked in for the first read, it was the best. It was the best. And what I think it helps with the show. I think what makes the show strong, I think the way it is that we have a great group of people to work with. Not only just the actors, but I mean, here in Vancouver, it's just a great group of people to work with. We have a lot of fun on set. We joke around a lot, quite a bit. You've been here, you've seen what we do. We pull some pranks, but we tease a lot, and we have a lot of fun. And if you can't have fun at what you do, I mean, then why do it? We love the fact that people write in. We love the fact that the email is coming in like gangbusters. We also love the whole idea of that people help make a show what it really is. They helped us from last season to get back again this season, and I want to thank them out there for that too. I want to thank all of the affiliates, everybody. I mean, everybody was so positive last season, and it's just great to see that feedback come. And we have great hopes for this season.
Thank you. You may sit down now.
This is
Thank you,
because
Miss Lloyd.
You may
this
sit
is
down
because people can't remember her name.
That's why.
Sabrina Lloyd.
Wait, they spelled that wrong. I didn't notice that.
Wait a minute. It is spelled wrong, isn't it?
Oh, well, there you are. Miss Lloyd, you want to sit in the right chair now, or are you more happy?
No, because see, if I sit in it, then people won't be able to see my name.
All right, no one's allowed to sit in this chair. All right.
No one can sit here, but you may sit there. Whose chair am I in?
Very hard, rigorous work here at Sliders. Constantly working hard.
Yes.
Yeah, they never give us a break.
The constant badinage from competitive people. It's but on behalf of the lads, I would like to say how delighted we are to be working on the Sabrina Lloyd show, and we're very grateful.
Yeah, no, it's okay. They can stay on the show for a while. Yeah, their storylines are getting a little big, but yeah. Oh, you haven't told them yet?
Oh God!
Oh, I don't really want to get involved in this right now.
I told you we must.
I got 4 kids. What are you talking about?
5 by the time you get home, I'm sure.
I'm sure, right?
We hate each other. We hate spending time with each other. To test each other. I mean, every moment we are together is just pure hell.
Yeah, it's painful.
Hell.
It's painful.
Pain. I ache it all over. What's this little blue thing in your hair?
Shh, don't touch that. That's character.
It is.
Oh, you trying for character this season?
Only in this episode. I was like, hey, maybe I'll get into this whole Wade thing.
A spacecraft has crashed, thanks to the sterling efforts of the boy genius here. The cowards amongst us, I name no names, follow my eyes, are for running away from this. The idiots amongst us are for going inside the alien craft. So we'll effect a compromise.
I think this is my first spaceship experience here.
It's my first spaceship experience.
It really is. It's fun.
How you enjoying it?
Yeah,
It's good for you?
it's good. I'm a little uncomfortable. I mean,
You seem to be
space.
putting 100% into it. I really wanted
Always
to.
110.
Always. Really?
But it's a little freaky, a little spooky.
You looked a little scared before when the sparks were going
Well,
off.
they have explosions and stuff.
Yeah, but it's just, you know what? It's not real. And they have people on the set that'll protect you if you get hurt. So it's okay.
Then why did I get burned?
Well, Cleavant, that was one of those freak accidents that happen to people who stand a little too close to fire.
I love the naivete of actors who believe that in the event of an accident, There are people on the set who will protect them. The Cro-Mags, if I'm allowed to sort of give away some of the Cro-Mags are a different strand of evolutionary possibility. Obviously, it derives from Cro-Magnon. And instead of the evolutionary chain ending up with Homo sapiens, Cro-Mag, a violent, vicious killer ape, killed off all the other evolutionary possibilities, and its descendants developed into sentient beings themselves.
Time to go home.
Organic metal. You're getting a preview here. Look, organic metal. You see, the skin of this craft is both flexible, immensely strong, and it has actually a system of veining in it. You could tell these are aliens. We have nothing in our civilization that can come up to this.
Jerry! Oh my.
That was a good one. That was real good. Oh!
Very little. Very, very little.
Whoa!
You mark it! Back up, Richard!
Man. Shades of David and Goliath. Where's your slingshot?
Here. Our timer operates on a unique frequency. Given the way it was being interfered with, I figured the alien ship must rely on a similar energy source.
Shades of David and Goliath. Where's your slingshot?
Here. Our timer operates on a unique frequency. Given the way it was being interfered with, I figured this alien ship must rely on a similar energy source. Activating the timer was like turning on a mega laptop inside of a jet plane. It sent these things gyros spinning. And the result was this crash.
Oh, that's great, cue ball. Remind me never to fly with you. Now, let's just get the devil away from here, man.
Yeah, I'm with you. Whatever's inside that thing can't be too thrilled with what you've done. So let's just go, okay?
Mr. Mallory, over here. Look at this, Quinn. Organic metal.
So this ship, in essence, is a living machine.
Fantastic indeed. Aliens from outer space. Amazing.
But it's not from outer space.
Everybody freeze!
Well, did you enjoy that? Mr. Mallory, over here. Look at this, Quinn. This is organic metal.
So this, in essence, is a living machine.
Fantastic indeed. Mr. Mallory, over here. Look at this, Quinn. This is organic metal.
So this, in essence, is a living machine.
Fantastic indeed. This is our first encounter with alien technology from outer space.
But it's not from outer space.
Who that?
Great God.
David and Goliath, man. Where's your slingshot?
Here. Our timer operates on a unique frequency. Given the way it was being interfered with, I figured the spaceship must rely on a similar energy source. Activating the timer was like turning on a mega laptop inside of a jet plane. It sent that thing's gyros into chaos. The result was this crash.
Great cue ball. Remind me to never to fly with you. Now let's just get a devil away from that thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. Whatever's inside that thing can't be too thrilled with what you've done. Let's just go.
Mr. Mallory, over here. Look at this, Quinn. Organic metal.
So, this... Pavon, did you want your coat?
I'm cold.
You know, when...
But it's not from outer space. Who did this? Who brought the manta to its knees?
I guess I did.
The Cro-Mags aren't going to like that. They're not going to like that one bit. They will revenge this loss with merciless ferocity.
Cro-Mags. Who the devil are the Cro-Mags?
They're marauders. Killers. And they eat eyes. Human eyes. They came here to vanquish us, riding a wave of manta ships to our world. And so, our Earth dies screaming.
I thought you said they were not from interstellar space.
No, they're from right here, man. They're from right here. That's the irony, don't you see? I daren't say anymore. They might be watching. They might very well be watching. Oh, my lovely twin daughters have arrived. They too were set free when the Cro-Mags came to our city.
You're their father.
Well, don't you see the resemblance? I have 42 daughters in all. I'm still waiting for my first boy. Now come along, girls. We mustn't be here when the vengeful masters arrive. Good day to you all. May your punishment be relatively painless.
Don't. Let him go. Did you see that medical bracelet he was wearing? Gate Haven. My uncle used to work at a place called Gate Haven. In our San Francisco, it's a mental institution.
Maybe after the invasion, the keepers fled the city.
Oh, that's just great. So now we listen to some fruitcake tell us what's what?
Fruitcake? That's hardly politically correct, is it now, Mr. Brown? But to the task at hand, Mr. Mallory.
And cut! We're gonna do it again before you... Take two, guide track. Hey, camera mark. Marker. And action!
Back to the task at hand. Come along, Mr. Mallory. Gotta get inside this thing, see what we can learn from it, before somebody notices that it's gone missing.
What are you guys doing? You out of your freaking mind.
For Lima, take three. Guide track. Hey, camera mark. Marker. And action!
Back to the task at hand. Come along, Mr. Mallory. We've got to get into this, see what we can learn, before somebody notices it's gone missing. Back to the task at hand. Come along, Mr. Mallory. We've got to get into that ship, see what we can learn, before somebody discovers it's missing.
Hey, what are you guys doing? You out of your freaking minds?
Yeah, we were just leaving, remember?
I can't leave, Wade. There might be someone or something hurt inside the craft.
Good point, Mr. Mallory. Good point.
Just keep an eye out for anything unusual.
Yes. Hit it on the head if you see it. That's anthropology for you, my boy.
Hey, guys, run.
Run? Why?
Come on, move it.
I'm the only one here. We got to line them all up. And then you got to shoot. You just volunteered.
Okay, we're going to go up and get on the camera. Let's just walk it. Okay? So we'll track your walking just to make sure that
It's more of a, instead of running, it's more of a grouping together and kind of like a fast pace, looking back, checking behind us. And
watch your back.
Okay.
That
All right.
same old thing. Watch your back.
Do you have that?
No.
You want me to explain? I'll take. See, what happens is if you read the script.
Yes. Why?
You must be at least
Aimed wherever you're looking.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't know if you're going to be what side. So constantly pan them, but don't trigger them here.
No, I won't trigger.
Okay.
I don't remember who was in kind of what
Alrighty.
position. Alrighty.
Alrighty.
So actually, in other words, guys, what's probably best for
where's
you're not triggering them if you lost action with them.
Why don't you
That's
guys
the
just
on
walk
button.
in for
Just move around one, right? Then you won't like run and hit it.
Well, yeah, I just don't want it to go on inadvertently because it would be firing something.
Exactly.
How many would you like?
What I would like you to do is, would you run through here to there, sir?
No, thank you.
Show it?
Yeah, thank you. Stop, guys, where we stop. Where we
So far back, the model beats after me. My face mold when I wake up in the morning
All the way through.
before makeup gets a hold of me. This is what I look like.
But the question is, the trailers, will you be my Valentine?
Okay, we're going to shoot the rehearsal.
Are you ready?
So let's get everybody ready, please, finals. Cut! Okay, we're going
Squeeze me.
All right.
You are better catch the...
Oh, that was a good one. You know what? As long as you're laughing, it's okay at my expense. You know, I'm here to entertain everybody.
Bob,
I'm here for you.
the other thing was,
Yes, Princess.
John got so
Yes,
far
thank
ahead of
you.
them that they only... Cut! Cut!
Who's got something that feels like a book in their pocket?
Yeah, guys, we can step backward there between the buckets.
Watch your shadow on the car front, guys.
Rolling.
Shadow on the car front.
Speeding.
Marker!
Here we go. Ready, and 3, 2, 1, action!
if you could find brand new worlds right here on Earth, where anything is possible? Same planet, different dimension. I found the gateway.
Keys! Give me the keys!
Here.
Stay down!
Get him out of here.
No person in a criminal case should be compelled to be against himself, nor deprived of life or liberty or the loss of property without due process of law.
Yeah. Once upon a time, it was called the Fifth Amendment. I represent certain parties who are prepared to trade it and a whole lot more for the judge's release.
You can go to hell.
What exactly are you looking for, Mr. Brown?
The pardoning of Judge Nassau and his co-conspirators, complete, total exoneration and immunity from any future prosecutions. Signed by President LaRouge himself.
Unacceptable.
Then you lose, friend. Thanks for your time.
You listen to me, you un-American. I don't know who you are or where you came from, but you're not leaving here.
Careful. My friends are at a computer terminal at this very moment, and if they don't hear from me, within 15 minutes, they will launch the unabridged U.S. Constitution over the internet. Millions upon millions of computer hackers will wake up to the Bill of Rights over their email. Now you try putting the genie back in that bottle.
I have never seen such vermin as what passes itself off as human in this world.
Quinn, he's gonna kill her.
You learn respect. Quinn, don't. Don't get involved in this. What the hell are you doing, boy? You'll get yourself killed.
Do something.
Run! I'll keep him back!
Who's this?
I never saw him before.
Quit arguing and get out of here! Stay back.
Take a swing, punk.
Okay, Professor. Come on, let's go. Get your things.
What's going on?
You too, my dear.
You sold us out.
Professor, you can't be serious.
Oh, grow up, Miss Wells. As the man says, it's survival of the fittest. It's better that one of us should survive than all of us perish.
You can't mean this.
What are you gonna do, Professor? Steal the idea? Wait till I'm out of the way so you can call sliding your own?
No, Mr. Mallory, I am going to go home and perfect it, which is what you should have done before you imperiled all our lives. When I've done that, I will have every right to call sliding my own.
We'll die here.
I'm truly sorry.
through this. This isn't over! You hear me?
There's not a single man in this whole place.
Is it possible that we have landed on a world where there are no men?
Wouldn't it be a kick? The only guys on the world filled with love-starved women?
Gentlemen, we made a slide to heaven.
I don't think so, guys. They arrested us, remember?
Maybe that was for our own protection. You saw how they were out there.
Gentlemen. This way, please.
All I'm saying is don't say anything until we figure out what's going on.
Trevor Grant,